And just double check that crazy mobile phone device that we all have. Just turn it off for me, please. No outside help today. I'm going to... Yeah, that's it. Your insanity is in my hands today. It's a good thing. Okay, so how are we all doing? Good evening? Yeah. Who managed to do the homework or just think about it? Excellent, okay? We're going to do it again this morning. Now, already some of you has come up to me and said, wow, I didn't know that was there. It's getting highly emotional already. Good, I did tell you that. When it comes to personal development, it should be, just the way I think about it, it should be harsh, it should be brutal, it should be full on, and you need to confront your demons. Why? We've talked about the unconscious mind as being a pretty friendly person inside of our minds, correct? Its ultimate goal is to keep us safe. Would we ultimately agree with that? At any sense of danger, it will do everything in its power to persuade you to do otherwise. Okay? And at the point you start to challenge that, you better believe it's going to challenge you back. And the way it challenges you back is by making the world around you horrible. You know you're on a good thing when the unconscious mind is making your world horrible around you, because it pushes back. It's not, as the saying suggests, that it's our servant, we just tell her what to do. If that was the case, everyone would be floating on air. Everything would be fantastic. But it doesn't work like that. Yeah, if only. I haven't worked that part out yet. Okay? So what I have noticed after years of doing it myself, and I'll talk about my story later and why it was so important for me to learn this for me, what we've done for the countless people I've worked for, being hired to do this with, students, private students, trainings, all that sort of stuff, is I notice a pattern from that very quickly. That the best results I've heard of from students just like yourselves are the one that went through absolute hell to get there. Once they decided to work on what I'm about to reveal to you. So what I expect to happen is when we're going through these exercises, this is what I expect to happen. You're going to get confused, you're going to get angry, you're going to get frustrated, you're going to get lost, it's going to get emotional, and you are not going to like me or the situation very much. I'm going to give you that. But I'm here for your best interests, okay? When we start looking at this, what I call a torment, it's going to be hidden deep, deep, deep down. So we have to navigate our way through all the conclusions, all the excuses, all the whys, all the what-ifs. We have to get through all of those to get to it. And when we get to it, that's when the fun begins, in a good way. Because then when we find out what it really is, then you need to task yourself with the instructions I give you of how to get rid of it. And it's not an overnight thing. This is not business in a box, you'll have a $1 million business by tomorrow type scenario. This could take you a whole month to get rid of it. A year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. So you need to consider yourself, are you that person to continuously do what I'm about to tell you to do? Does that make sense? Okay. So I will be as gentle as possible. Okay. No, I won't. I'm just saying that for the camera. I'll be as gentle as I can be. But I want to give you the instructions based on the introduction to the book that we have on Amazon for this, which is an intro to Meta Mind Analysis. I want to give you the introduction to that and teach you what's in this book. Okay, everyone happy to do that? Now, how does this work in the context of therapy? How does it not? If you get rid of your own stuff inside your head, the language patterns, the techniques I give you, all of those sorts of things become more powerful and more impactful. Why? Because now you're confident. You're no longer having deserving issues. You're no longer getting nervous around people, anxious around people. I've heard some great hypnotists talk about hypnosis, talk about NLP. They know all the coaching things. They know everything. Even, as far as academia, they've read all the books. When it comes to a conversation with them, I'm lost with them. But the one thing they fall, and the one thing they fall for a high percentage of hypnotists, is when they sit down in that chair, what happens to all that information? It goes. Your clients do not care about brainwaves, connections. They don't care about that stuff. They care what can you do for them. Okay? Our goal, hopefully you've seen with this training and the other trainings that we have, which we'll talk about later because we're getting questions about it, is I teach hypnotists how to be hypnotists, how to act and think like it, not what to do. Okay? We set more of a mindset, so you never have to think about what to do. You just do it, you become it. Who's heard of the saying, you don't do hypnosis to people. Who's heard that before? You don't do therapy to people. That's nice. And then it came about, it evolved into you do therapy with somebody, like it's a mutual thing. I don't even believe in that. I think you become it. And this wacky way of thinking and talking and things you say and do comes so natural, it becomes a part of your personality. But then there's a caveat to that. It's very hard to stop it. But why would you? Okay? That's what I want to work on today. Okay? So this formula right here, to an extent, and even the ABSU formula, which is the 4 stages to go into trance, actually can be applied to yourself in many aspects. So it means we don't have to learn a whole new theory. Now, the great thing about this is when you start to apply these ideas to yourself, you start to believe in them more, which means you can express them to clients more convincingly. Does that make sense? Let's say we had a friend of ours that asked us, I want to go to a restaurant. Do you know any good restaurants? Would you be more convincing to tell them about a great restaurant you've been to or a great restaurant that you've read about? Okay, that you've been to. Why? Because as you're talking about it, you start to express the experience unconsciously. There was the food and the wine and, oh my God, the service was so great and this and this and this, rather than, I read that this place got 5 stars and I think you should go there. So I want you to experience this as much as possible, just like a great hypnotist should experience trance. On many occasions I've had therapists say to me, or hypnotists say to me, I've never experienced hypnosis before. I think, oh, that's terrible for you. Okay? And it shows in their sessions, because now they're navigating a session based on what they think. As a hypnotist, everything you want your client to do, you should be able to do yourself. If you want your client to go into trance, it's of great practice you learn how to go there yourself. If you want someone to eat at a restaurant, it's a great practice to go there yourself and tell them the experience. Does that make sense? There was a question yesterday, or maybe the day before, about how do you block yourself from getting attached to somebody's problem? Get rid of your own. The only reason you attach, and really pay attention to this, the only reason you attach to a client's problem is because it's your problem too. And once you start to do hypnosis and you go into trance, your attention's absorbed, you better believe that your own crap, that's the scientific name for it, crap, will come up. And you're not a good hypnotist if you're sitting there crying. Especially when they look at you and say, you okay? Role reverse, okay? If, however, hypnotists will say to me, well, how do you block it? How do you block those things from coming up? I just got rid of it because I noticed it was coming up all the time. So instead of coming up with a technique to block myself or to put a shield around me as I've been told to do or whatever people do, I just got rid of it. Because if I'm trying to protect myself, my own stuff, where's my attention now? On me, and it should be on them. But if I've got no dramas about my own stuff coming up, I don't have to worry about it, and I've got even more attention on them. Does that make sense, guys? Okay. So, being this on camera as well, this is not going to be a demonstration thing because we're not there yet, but I want to give you the foundation of where this is all coming from and how you can work on this for yourself. So, did everyone write at least a short list of their life as a whole? Okay? If you did it, we're going to do this exercise again. The reason I got you to do it last night is when working with a client, it looks like this. Let's say your client comes in to see you for anything: smoking, weight loss, anxiety, phobias, anything you can think of. We all believe, we all understand now that's not the problem. That's the circumstance. Which means that the underlying problem that we use the hypnotic interview for is what we have to locate. Would we all agree? The same thing happens for you. To find that torment or to find that one reoccurring pattern, we just have to start somewhere in your life. The reason you have bad experiences, and just take on these metaphors just for today because it should help you understand this. The reason you have your own crisis and things popping up in your life that you don't enjoy is because that's the torment expressing itself. And it's the unconscious mind reminding you, at that point you did something that was dangerous and I'm going to give you this so you stay far away from it. Does that make sense? So the same thing occurs. So with your list, we need to find your torment. So we need to start somewhere. So it could be my boyfriend broke up with me when I was 18 years old and I'm heartbroken. Okay, or I was fired from my job and I nearly lost my house, I was broke, and I didn't like that part of my life, okay? So whether you've got a list of 3, 5, 10, what I would like you to do now by yourself, I'm going to get you guys to spread out a little bit so it's a little bit more personal, okay? So Lana's going to be walking around as well if you need help. I want you to look at your list. If you've got 3, pick one that really grabs your attention. One that is more present in your minds and you can get more details from it. Does that make sense? Okay. Now you can use the list you did last night or you can start now. What I want you to do is spend 5 minutes either picking from your list or writing one down. All you need to do is this. Actually, let's put it up here. Just absorb your attention in it. Okay? Pick one scenario, then I want you to write down all the details. What happened, who was there, how did you feel? Write the details down as if you're writing a short story about your life. Does that make sense? There's no correct way or correct theme to work with. You have to start somewhere. Just like we ask our client, what's the problem? Okay? I need to start somewhere. Is everyone crystal clear on that? Okay, so spread yourselves out, guys. Okay,